All right, at this time, we'll call the Warren County School Board to order. Y'all have the agenda approved. I have a approval for the agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So opposed. Michael, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have our consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Have a motion. I have a second by Ms. Blair. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. All right. Mr. Cox, operations.
All right, it's gonna be a little lengthy report tonight. Sorry about that. We've got several things we need to look at. The leadership class, our leadership cohort that we have every year, I think is supposed to be here at 6, so if you don't care, we'll postpone that. When those folks come in, we'd like to recognize them, and Ms. Wood will take care of that. So we'll move down to the transportation update. From our retreat that we had, provided everyone a copy of the proposed snow routes and the stops there. From our discussion when we had retreat, we went back to Durham School Services, asked them to start putting those in map form so that we could, get that out to the public. So we're in the process of doing that. That takes a little bit more time to get all that ready to go. So hopefully by next month we'll have those in place. But the goal, again, during the board for the board meeting in the minutes, was to go to snow routes so that we could possibly have school on days when it wasn't necessarily, weather was not inclement enough to cause us to close because of some roads being icy. So a lot of times, the mountain roads are a little bit treacherous, and the town roads are better. So we've tried to develop snow routes where we would bring people to a limited number of stops, and then still be able to have school, or wouldn't get into a situation where we did this year and had to extend the school year. You take back some of the days we had for professional development. So is there any discussion about that we'd like to have with that?
Has there been any thought given to, if you start a snow route in the morning and the day warms up so well, that you're gonna continue that snow route for sure in the
Well,
afternoon?
no, I think-
or
yeah, I
how
think
will you
we-
communicate that?
Yeah, I think we would give discretion to, the bus drivers and the transportation department. I think the way we'd probably communicate that would be through our calling system. If we decided that, hey, in the mornings we're gonna run snow routes, and then in the day it clears up, and we can communicate that by our calling system to parents, say we're gonna run regular routes on the way home. And we've made some enhancements. I don't know if y'all have noticed that or not. Our new calling system, School Messenger, is called Sky Alert. It's within our new student management system, Skyward. So you'll get a phone message, a text message, but you'll also get an email if your email address is in there, and it'll have a audio message there that you can listen on your computer as well. So, we've got multiple modes to get that information out. So we're still working with that. But if everybody's okay with proceeding with that, then we'll proceed, get the maps, bring it back hopefully next month, let the board approve those, and then start getting that out to the public.
I think that traditionally TDOT here in Warren County went to Highway 8 on Harrison Ferry Mountain first. That was their first priority, and as long as they continue doing that,
Right.
I think we're fine.
And I'm in, 4 o'clock in the morning, I've got state troopers on the phone, and they're up there on the mountain, and we're trying to make a recommendation by 5:30 at least if we can. And I know those phone calls go out early in the morning, and we get feedback from that, but there's just no other way around it. Our buses start rolling at 6 o'clock, so if we don't make it at 5:30, then That's just the way, we don't, it causes other problems. So, we try to do the best we can to notify folks as quick as we can.
Now, if the students can't make it
Right.
to the alternate route,
Right.
they're not going to be counted unexcused absence.
Right, the principals have discretion on that, and they can handle that on a case-by-case, basis, and, I'm sure that there'll be an issue with maybe somebody taking advantage of that and things of that type, but again, safety's gonna be the number one, priority. We wanna go to school every day we can, but, safety is gonna be the number one priority, and if it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to go, then we'll call it off. But, yeah, principals always have discretion to excuse absences past that if they need to. All right, well, we'll proceed then and continue with that and try to refine that as we go, and bring that back, the next meeting. The next item on the agenda, we provided you with some information about Tennessee Promise. Frequently asked questions document and some other information. Tennessee Promise is Governor Haslam's program that was passed by the legislature this year to provide tuition-free post-secondary education for our upcoming seniors this year. It will affect the class of 2015. There's several things that are similar to our Citizens for Progress Scholarship Program, but with Tennessee Promise, there is a community service part. There are pretty static deadlines. November 1, you have to enroll by November 1 to be eligible for the program, and you have to participate in mentorship. And we're currently recruiting mentors in our community clubs. We've got 13 that have already registered. All mentors have to go through a background check to have contact with students. Tennessee Achieves is the partnering agent with us. They do that at no cost. They've monitored the program in Knoxville when it first started. And the county, actually County Executive Pelham, sent the letters to choose a administrating body, went to all the county mayors or county executives. So in Warren County, we have a task force that was set up, or an advisory board, that is the county commission approved. It's made up of the county executive, the director of schools, the director of Montlow State Community College, and the TCAT. So all four of those people are on an advisory committee for Tennessee Promise. And, right now, where we are at with that is Mr. Walker, the high school is starting to pull kids in, getting information out about that. I think he's got a plan for making sure they get registered in the next few weeks to get that done. And then, actively recruiting the mentors. We'll have to have somewhere around 42 to 50 mentors. And like I said, we had 13 that have already signed up for that. So just wanted you to have information about that. I sent an article or press release to the paper yesterday, so hopefully that avenue will get out as well. So we're moving forward. So if anybody got any questions about the Tennessee Promise?
You can't emphasize too much that November 1st date, and the advice to students who are not sure that they want to do this is to go ahead and register. You're not obligated.
Right,
Now, if
exactly.
you change your mind later on down the road, but if you don't get in on that November 1st, you are totally, permanently, irrevocably out of the program.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And I'm all signing up with some of the mentors, and I hope other school board members, incoming board members will consider that.
All right.
Where do you go to sign up for the mentor?
Go to TennesseeAchieves.org. TennesseeAchieves.org, and I can get you there's a push card that I can send out to everybody so that you can have that information to register.
So I'm gonna sign up for it if I pass the background check.
I hope we can all do that.
The mentor, will it be a certain amount of hours that they'll need to spend with the student?
They have to make contact with them on a every 2-week period. So there is a certain amount of hours that they do that. There's meetings that will be scheduled, on campus at the high school. It's one of the things that Tennessee Achieves has been pretty involved in is making sure that, you know, when mentors and students meet, they do that in a safe environment. So, you know, having the opportunity to meet at the high school. And then those mentor meetings are all also scheduled. There's dates I think in your packet there of when those would take place.
They expect about 10 to 12 students will be assigned each mentor. I would hope the number would be over there.
Right.
The role of the mentor is sort of encourager and advocate and cheerleader, keeping in mind that a lot of the students, the majority of them, this will be the first member of their family ever to go to higher education. And another duty of the mentors is to kind of help remove roadblocks and barriers to students.
You know, making sure they get their paperwork in on time, making sure they enroll in school, if that's their intent, and, you know, just follow them through. So, be a good program, and it'll also allow us to take Citizens for Progress and repurpose that money into maybe other areas like non-traditional school and things of that type. So, our advisory board for that is working, on that, and actually, the football game tomorrow night, we're getting our, the advisory board to be presenting a check before the football game for Citizens for Progress and teacher grants. So the funds that were raised through Bridgestone's golf tournament, I think our portion of that is somewhere around $39,000. It's going to be presented to the school system for Citizens for Progress by Bridgestone and the advisory board tomorrow night. So good stuff. Okay. Moving on down, new programs at the high school. We've had a couple of things. One was in your packet. It's on down toward the bottom. Multicultural Club. There's been an application made. I think it's toward the latter part of your packet about the Multicultural Club. Mr. Walker's here. Might answer any questions that you might have, or tell us a little bit about that program.
Mr. Wayne Wolford approached me back in right before school starting, wanted to get active in creating a multicultural club through the Spanish clubs and stuff like that, and making it, and actually working with Lord Christensen, so we can kind of take in the different cultures that we have at the high school, not just a specific. And I know that they've met previously for the last, actually they met yesterday, I talked to them, and just trying to get it organized and just try to bring and let kids know the different cultures that we do have at the high school, and do some activities with that and expand upon it.
I think it'd be a good opportunity. I know Mr. Walker's goal is to have every student involved in at least 2 activities at the high school. I think that's correct.
Is that your club day tomorrow? We're gonna have them all? I
So,
think it's a good
you know,
idea.
this gives another opportunity for our students to interact with each other, so I think it's a good thing. The bylaws are in your packet. I think it's been organized, we've got faculty sponsors, and, you know, I would just ask the board for their approval, on Mr. Walker's recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve Multicultural Club. To have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed.
The next thing to go along with that is we got a letter, I think you might have got that in your addendum, maybe about didn't get a copy of the letter? Okay. We didn't get a copy of the letter. This was late yesterday. But again, from the high school, Mr. Kelsey, a new teacher at the high school, is interested in starting a rugby club at the high school. He participated in Maryville High School, wanted to start a club here. Information kind of been sent out to parents and students about that, researching all the specifics about the program. Mr. Walker had sent a letter to possibly start that. We did have rugby several years ago, I think. George Joslin, isn't that right? Did the rugby program there, and again, just another opportunity for students. So if Mr. Walker's willing to man that ship, then I'm okay with it, if the board's okay with them revitalizing that program.
The big thing, talking to Brian, it's pretty much self-funded through the Nashville Rugby, there's a rugby organization in Murfreesboro, insurance, things like that. It's more of a club sports what it is. I think that's how George used to run it.
the board's okay with us exploring that, I would.
Have you had
recommend-
any kids to show interest in it?
It's 75.
Oh, I think you've had some interest.
Yeah.
How do we have 75 kids show interest in rugby but won't come out for football?
40 of them were girls.
A lot of them.
40 of them are
female.
girls.
Yeah.
Actually, he told me this morning that 12
It's
senior
it's
football
contact,
players
it's contact.
came to him
It's
because it's a
contact.
spring,
Gonna do it in the spring? That was my next question.
so it wasn't interfered, because we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, you don't want your
No.
football players getting hurt on a Sunday in rugby game.
But he kind of went to him and they talked about, the 12 seniors came to him yesterday and said, once we're done in the spring, we'd like to consider that, so.
How many players are on the team?
That's a scrum, dude, I don't know. I just see this guy, no, actually, I don't really know, I just know that he told me, and of course, George Smart played at UT.
That's
He's-
what's wrong with
And he's also actually helped me a little bit too. And they had, I know he was excited about that many girls wanting to do it. So,
Can board members play?
I mean,
I think anybody
I
can
would,
play.
I don't know exactly how many's on the field at one time, I would say 12, sort of like soccer probably. I don't know, I remember George doing it many years ago, but I don't really know much about it. But there's definitely excitement, because that was a buzz in the hall.
All right, do we have a motion to start a rugby club?
I'll make
Motion.
a motion.
Got a motion by Ms. Blair, got a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We now have rugby.
All right. Next item, again from the high school, we've had an incident in the past week regarding security. I think that's been pretty well publicized. I try to let all the board members know that day what was going on. It was handled extremely well at the high school. I don't think it could have been handled any better. So we're happy that was resolved. But one of the things I know that Mr. Walker's been dealing with is we've had some fights and things of that type that he felt like we needed to, get a handle on. There's a letter in your packet from him providing some information about what his recommendation might be. We've had some further discussion since that time. Asked Robin to kind of review that as well. So I guess I'll let Jimmy talk a little bit about what his vision for this is, and then Robin, the legality part of that, and see kind of where we go from here.
Well, the main issue is it ended up last year, we had abnormal amount of fights at the high school. And it may have been, there was probably a number of things that probably caused it. And starting out this year, within the first 5 days, we had what I would call 3 major fights. To the point, one of them was in an assembly with 400 juniors in there. And we just felt like that with that going on, maybe the discipline that we were dealing with them was not sinking in a little bit. So I talked with Grant Swallows at White County, and he told me he had 8 fights his first year, first 15 days of school. And that he kind of adapted a policy that made it a little bit more stringent with their alternative school or academy. And then White County being on a block schedule, their days, I kind of looked at it and said, well, 20 days, and he said, yeah, but we're on block. So we just kind of looked at days, since we're on the 7-period year-round straight schedule. We felt like that we need to put a little bit more bite in what we would call flagrant type fights. I'm talking when the SROs are having to call in and have to put cuffs on kids because it becomes assault. And just to kind of get their attention a little bit that this is not the place to do it. And we just felt like, I want to be real honest, my first priority is a safe school. If you're not in a safe environment, you're not going to learn. And I guess that's a little old school, but we just felt like that they just didn't have any regard for what we were trying to do. And it seemed not to get their attention, but since we did what we did the first 3 fights this year, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. So,
in the letter you can see it kind of dictates that, a first offense would be a 45-day placement at Warren Academy, a second would be a 90-day placement third offense would be expulsion. You know, I think we wanna make sure that, we treat everything on its merits. One of the things that we talked with Jimmy about was, you know, if there is a fight, instead of making that determination, is make sure they come, you know, we cite them to our discipline board. You know, more times than not, they're cited to court. It depends upon how, you know, I guess, bad the fight is, for lack of a better term. We try to make a good discretion between what we do as far as discipline. You know, I think that's what Robin's concerned, not speaking for her, but, you know, that we want to make sure that we have enough teeth in the policy that kids know that we're not going to tolerate, you know, fighting at school, period. But we want to make sure we treat everybody on their merits. So, you know, bringing in the disciplinary board, making sure disciplinary board reviews all of that information and then makes a decision, has the decision to either modify this or, you know, maybe it's a longer term, maybe it's a shorter term. But, you know, making sure that we put some teeth in what we're doing. So, I mean, is that
Yes, I mean,
synopsis?
basically, we just, because this is a longer period of time than normally has been in the past for fighting. First of all, we have to have notice. That means it needs to go out to parents, and it's to be in the handbook, which it's not this year, but it would have to go out, direct calling on our website, all of those things. Second of all, because it is a longer offense, it would need to we'd have more due process issues there. They would need more than a conversation with the principal. So that's why we would need to involve the discipline board to do that. They would also be in a position to make sure all students are treated the same, because we do have concerns that we have to address, OCR concerns, civil rights concerns. There was a letter, Dear Colleague letter in January that addressed making sure there's no disparate impact in discipline, especially discipline that excludes kids from the regular classroom. So, you know, those concerns could be met by having it go to discipline board and having that decision be made there by more of a little mini trial than just the normal due process you would get speaking with your principal. If we can do all that, then I think we can, you know, the notice and the due process being the big considerations, we would need to show that there is a problem with fighting at the school, and I think that we have we do have some history with that, and our juvenile court, you know, has seen some of these kids too. So I think that we can deal with it more stringently than we have in the past. We just need to provide those two things, and if we do that, then we can go forward
proceed.
with a recommendation. I mean, I don't think it needs to be we're going to give them 45 days. It needs to be sent instead to the disciplinary, state disciplinary committee for them to determine, and they need to have a range of punishment, or discipline.
Yeah, I
that
think
needs
if
to
we,
be had, that this could be part of that.
I think we reworded the letter to state that, fights will be referred to the disciplinary review board, and punishments for first offense could be up to 45 days, second offense up to 90 days, and then third offense expulsion. You know, word the letter and that to give them, the disciplinary review board, the opportunity to, you know, decide whether it needs to be lessened or it needs to be maximized, or it could be, you know, the first offense, if it was bad enough, could end up in an expulsion. So.
What's the time frame on that? When you have a fight, are we gonna give them 3-day suspension and that review board take place in that 3 days?
Disciplinary review boards every Wednesday. So normally what happens is they're suspended until
That day?
time. Yeah.
So if the fight happens on Monday, they're
You need to-
suspended and they meet before the disciplinary board on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
And these are the fights that Mr. Walker sees need to come. It would not be every
Right.
single fight. These are the more assault-like fights.
Not just simple arguments.
Right.
Right, because I do think that that's a little vague to have them be suspended for the 10 days that you possibly could, it would be 7 days.
How would you-
Possibly at the maximum.
How would you define
one from the other unless it falls directly on the disciplinary board. I mean, for a little
That-
fine.
that-
what's
Right,
on
wrong?
his
well,
shoulder
that's
there,
gonna be
though. I
up
mean,
to the
that's-
principal
Through
to
the first punch
determine.
and all that, you know.
Yeah, because, I mean, because this just says for fighting.
Well, and that's
You know.
what Jimmy and I have discussed. We need to be a little more specific about that, about what that wording really needs to be. But it will be, we will get that together right away before this goes out. And it will be something that would involve violence of some sort, other than simple fighting.
Right, I mean, if it's something that you can control there, or if it's something major, you know, because just riding, fighting, I mean, that could, to me, that could come back on you, like, for any little incident, well, Johnny over here got in a fight, y'all didn't send him over here.
And we have to be specific enough, otherwise we do have problems with, treating everyone the same. Although we do have to, the due process required in that would require a hearing of some type before the disciplinary board. We also need it to be, such that it's capable of being compared between, so that all students are treated the same for the same level of fight.
Would you need to put
Like students, like circumstances. would be
principal
treated.
discretion? I mean,
Well, I think
Well,
what we would,
he and I will get together and get
Word it
that
properly.
worded,
yeah,
worded.
I think what we would need from the board is, you know, since the school year has started and the policy or the handbooks have gone out, give Mr. Walker the discretion to change that handbook to meet what is required due to the recent incidents.
effective immediately.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to change the handbook at the high school for fighting?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any other discussion?
I've got just one little point. When I first read the letter, and I fully agree with what Mr. Walker is wanting to do, and I certainly agree with Robin's observations. This may seem trivial, and I may be a little bit oversensitive about this, but in this, in the second paragraph, the quoted material, in a fight or assault with another, student shall be punished as follows, and then we talk about Warren Academy. I've just got a little problem with wording there, because Warren Academy, I don't know whether, you know, if you talk to Coach Fisher about this, I don't think the people at Warren Academy would, you know, want to be known as the punishment place, because they have a very positive, upbeat program that tries to get students sometimes, you know, they make a bad decision, got off on the wrong foot, you know, go down the wrong road, go to Warren Academy, spend some time there, and, you know, they're fine. And that doesn't happen in all cases, but at least that's the ideal behind Warren Academy. And I, you know, it's just a small suggestion, but I would think maybe changing that word punish to maybe shall be assigned as follows or something like that.
Or maybe shall be handled in the following manner.
Well, that's fine. I just have
Just
a
wanna
little
strike
part of
the
that
word
word
punished.
punished in there, yeah.
Okay.
And I know you do need to discipline, Mr. Walker, I understand that.
That's fine.
I just have a problem with word.
What about disciplined as follows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that works for me.
Okay. Well, we'll get together on that, get that out in the next week.
And also, obviously, this is not, there is a zero tolerance of, offense, assault on a teacher, so that would
That
obviously
wouldn't
not
affect
fall in
that.
here.
No.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
Okay, thank you. The next item, have a special course, Ms. Wood, provided, if you want to provide some information on the special course request. The mentoring education, special education CDC mentoring, I think everybody has a copy of that.
Well, good, because I'm not thinking that I have that.
Okay.
You want my copy?
I might need to refer to.
I think the course was for, like I said, the CDC, educational mentoring that we have done in the past. The course would be an academic course. The list, you can see there of appropriate content standards is in your packet. The course would be a course for graduation. What we've done is to try to aid students by providing them mentors, student mentors, to help them through the process of graduation. So we did this with prospective teachers at one point in time. The application would just have to go in, it'd have to be approved by the board first, but you can see the specifics of the course on through there. I think we have one student that is interested in doing this to help with EOC exams of special education students who may be going into that field. Anything else? Okay. I think it's, Ms. Wilmore is actually the person who would be responsible for this because it would be under our CDC program, but it is a 7 through 12 class. So I just asked for the board's approval on that.
All right, we have a motion to approve the CDC class.
Motion.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
We will send that to the State Department for their approval. Next item, 90% reading goal. You saw as we came up our walk, we had our Read 20 banner up front. Autumn has been working diligently to get that message out. Our 90% reading goal is through our Reading Foundation. We're hosting the kickoff of our Upper Cumberland Regional Reading Foundation in September, latter part of September. So I'd like to invite all the board members there. We'll get notice out. First Lady of Tennessee will be here to speak at that. And we wanted to just make sure that the board knows of our 90% reading goal. And that's going to be something that we put on our agenda as a static item on our agenda to track that 90% reading goal. It is in our strategic plan, so when we get down there, when we approve our strategic plan, that 90% reading goal is in there, and we are constantly pushing that as one of our major agendas for this year. So Autumn, you have anything else you want to?
I'll just add that I wanted to provide you with a little bit of data from our universal screener. Kind of what's in the grid there is the information from last year, and you have the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year results. Just to kind of let you track the progress that we made through the course last year. You also have some initial data down at the bottom of our 2014-15 first benchmark, kind of gauging the reading skills that kids have leading up to that 90% goal. I don't have all our universal screener is not completely yet, so that's why I didn't have it broken down like you see up top. But you can see that we're a little ways off from the 90% that we're shooting for. That is going to be a multi-year goal. It's not something that we expect to meet in 2 to 3 years. The Children's Reading Foundation of the Upper Cumberland, that is driving a lot of this work in our 19-county region, has set the 90% goal at 7 years. So that will lead us into 2021. We also, the benchmark that we're all using in the Upper Cumberland region is TCAP, because that's really the only common measure that we have. TCAP is a standards assessment. STAR, most of the information you have here is a skills assessment. So please just understand there's a little bit of difference in that. And I meant to include the 2014 TCAP percent proficient advanced. You have the 2013 third grade percent proficient advanced that was 40.5 in 2013. That is TCAP. I didn't note that there. That's something that I left out. But also I wanted to tell you that that was static at 2014 as well. It's still at 40.5% as measured on TCAP. A lot of the other districts in the state fell, so we're glad that we just didn't fall. But like I said, we've got a little work to do. We've got a lot of work to do to reach that goal. And part of the reason that we want to really emphasize this and hopefully have you all adopt this and let it be a continuing item is because it's going to take teachers, it's going to take all of our schools, our principals, everybody kind of on board there. It's going to take you all helping spread this message. It's going to take the families that have school-aged children, but also young children. and it's going to take our community as a whole. So we're really trying to work very hard to unite all those different stakeholders around this 90% goal.
We'll hopefully approve that when we get to our strategic plan. So I appreciate that presentation. Next item that's in your packet is the Second Harvest Food Bank Program. This item, just wanted to bring this to your attention. We started yesterday with a program partnering with Bridgestone and Second Harvest Food Bank, along with Bobby Ray Elementary and West Elementary Schools. And how this started was former plant manager Mitch Burke came to me several months ago and said, you know, is there a need that we can help fund within Warren County to help feed hungry children and families? And he had done some research. He had gotten some with his corporate folks and gotten with Second Harvest, and Bridgestone Corporate committed $10,000 to the program. Local Bridgestone Warren plant matched that with another $10,000. So yesterday, what happened was Second Harvest Food Bank delivered a pallet of food to our Family Resource Center. We had 10 or more Bridgestone employees there. They helped assemble 70 bags of food that was delivered by our maintenance department to Bobby Ray Elementary and West Elementary. We identified families through the schools, notified them that they could come by the school and pick up the food. So that has happened. The only commitment that those families would need to do is return the bag that it was in at some point during the month, and every month throughout the rest of the school year, on the last Wednesday of every month, there'll be a bag of food for those families to come and pick up. So I think it's a great partnership through Bridgestone, great through Second Harvest. Dwayne just sent a press release to James with some information about the program. But just wanted to make you all aware of that, and that, you know, we're continuing to build those relationships with business and try to help families as well. And just appreciate Bridgestone for being willing to do that, and we're just happy that we're the conduit that can make that happen. So that'll be going on throughout the school year, and then hopefully the goal is to branch it out into you know, every school as needed. So
That's a very powerful synergy between Bridgestone and Second Harvest Food Bank. I know Second Harvest Middle Tennessee has worked tirelessly with business and manufacturing industries, service sector. They really cultivate that kind of relationship. And I would agree, it's great. Our free and reduced percentage, I think the last time I looked, was about 65% countywide, which is a good index to local poverty.
And to kind of go along with that, I think I provided this to you in one of my Friday updates, but our CEP program for our elementary schools, we were up 12.3% in number of breakfast meals served in the first month of school. So we've served 1,603 more breakfast meals than we did last year within the first month, and 6% more lunch, 1,480 more lunch meals. So our participation rate in our schools is going up with this program, and everything seems to be going well with the CEP.
You might want to update your numbers. I'm hearing anecdotally it may
Be a little higher.
Above that, yeah.
I got that straight from our food service folks, but we'll see how it goes with
I've
that.
heard in the last few days.
The strategic plan, provided that at our workshop. Let everybody have an opportunity to take that. Again, that does contain our 90% reading goal in that. So I'll entertain any questions or comments about, you know, the strategic plan for this year. It's been fully updated, and I think we're ready to roll with that if the board is willing to approve that this evening.
Have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Have a motion to have a second. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So approved.
Okay, so we will get to work with that. Appreciate everybody's feedback in the workshop on that. The last item, before the last item, is report cards. Ms. Turner, again, last month, we approved our report cards for K2,
Pre-K and K.
pre-K and K. So now we're looking to, we finished the others with Skyward, and I'll turn it over to Autumn.
Well, like Mr. Cox said, last month you all approved the pre-K and kindergarten report cards. I wanted to, last month I didn't have a printout of what it would look like in Skyward, so that's what you have there before you. I needed a little bit more time for first grade, second grade, and third grade to meet with those teachers, to look at the redundancies, kind of do the same thing that we did with kindergarten primarily. So over the last month, we've done that. We've met with each grade level, and they came up with a few combinations, a few deletions. They looked to narrow it just a tad, just to not be so labor intensive on the teachers, and really the deleted items were repeated somewhere else, just in similar language. So that's what you have. All the changes are reflected there, and it's also reflective of the format that it will be printed in. I would like to say one more thing. That is kind of the end of the line report card. When they're printed every reporting period, it will only print the standards that were marked for that quarter. So the first quarter report card will be shorter than what you have there. It just will be kind of inclusive of the standards that are reported during any certain reporting period.
And these are standards-based with new curriculum, Tennessee curriculum. It is, you know, based right out of what we need to do to kind of move forward with that. We printed out of our student management system, along with mid-quarter reports as well. So they'll be in a little bit different format, but those will go home with parents as well, so, or to parents as well. So we just need board's approval to proceed with our report cards.
Do we have a motion to approve the new report cards?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
Your report also contains the personnel report in there, so if you may got any questions about that, I'll try to answer anything there.
What, I got one on the baseball coach. We got the new guy coming over from Hickory Creek.
He is coaching at the middle school. Dave Martin is going from the middle school to an assistant coach, and
Right.
Mr. Underhill is going.
It wasn't Mr. Underhill, it was the, I think it was the PE teacher over at, we
Yeah,
hired
he
somebody
left.
in.
He left before school started.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
That didn't last long.
Yeah.
So we still have assistant coach.
We hired him 1 week, and he left the next.
So we still have an
So,
assistant coach
yes.
spot
Yeah.
available for
Yes.
baseball.
Mhm.
That's why I wondered, I didn't see his name. I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he got a job in Cookville, I think.
Okay.
Okay?
As far as personnel, one thing I'll say is, I've been hearing and seeing a lot of good feedback on our new principals,
Great.
our teachers,
Great.
and our coaches.
I appreciate that.
And they have all been doing excellent,
I appreciate
and it's
that.
showing.
I appreciate that.
Good reading out on the street.
Wonderful, thank you. Last item is Ms. Wood.
It's the first item,
It's the
and I know
first
all
item.
about it. I'm gonna ask my group
Well,
if they'll come
while
in.
Ms. Wood's getting ready, we'll
Okay.
bring up this MOU with NCAA Christian.
I think that was in our consent.
Consent.
agenda.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Same, that's what we had last year, wasn't it, or something close?
Yeah, it's just a articulation agreement, so if students want to take classes that we can't offer, and vice versa.
I'll tell you what, this, okay. There's a little issue, like when I have to answer the phone, and jump up and go to the front office, and get called away. Look at that, there for.
Ms. Wood?
Every year, I have the opportunity to send out a request among the staff of Warren County Schools and ask if there are teachers out there who would like to become teacher leaders. And for them, that might mean leading in their own building, or for some of them, it might mean taking that giant step into an assistant principalship or an instructional coordinator's job, or even becoming a principal. And this year, no different than those other years before, I had an opportunity to work with 9 great people. And I can tell you over the course of, I think about 35 hours we spent together, maybe a little more than that because they didn't dock me for some overtime that we spent together. But we got to dive into some leadership characteristics that they should use in their school, or some traits. This is a book that's called Failure's Not an Option, written by Alan Blankstein. We've used it for about 3 or 4 years here in Warren County. It guides us through 6 research-based principles that really lead to effective leadership. In fact, there's research after research after research about if you do these things and you do them according to the research, you will be successful. And so there are schools that are listed in here that have gone through this transition, used these practices and these principles, and their data proves that they're successful. So we've had some conversations, and I have to say that this always happens to me. I probably learn more from them than they ever glean from the book as I try to lead them through the book. We've had some really good discussions. We've asked Mr. Cox to come in and do a segment on PLCs because actually Chapter 3 is devoted to collaborative work, so he came in and did that. We had some lively discussions when Ms. Turner came. She worked with us on RTI. In the book, it's actually entitled Achievement for All Students and a Guaranteed Curriculum for all learners to be sure that everybody's making gains. So when Ms. Turner came, we had some lively discussions about that because it was related to the new RTI work that we're doing in our district now, and actually doing it very well. The book leads us through lots of discussions, and I have to say that these people did an awesome job, and I was fortunate to be able to be in the conversations with them and to listen to the things they have to say. I would encourage them to take that leap. If they don't take the leap into the principalship or an assistant principalship or to become an instructional coordinator in your building, lead in your building. All teachers need someone with the veteran experience that you all have and your expertise. And you do have that. And it's not just because you went through that leadership class. It's because you want to be a leader. You've invested in yourself, and you've made yourself part of the process in Warren County. So I applaud you, and I hope everybody here will help me applaud you in your steps. I'd like to ask Mr. Cox if he'll step up here and hand you your certificate. And then I hope that the Standard would like to make some pictures of my group outside on the steps at the end. So I'm going to shake your hands as you come through, but I'm going to give Mr. Cox your certificate and let you get that from him. Kara Fuston. Kara. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Penny Keel. Penny, it's been a pleasure.
Penny, thank you.
Lori Paget, who changed her name in the middle of our class. She got married.
Yes, I did get married.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations. It's been a joy. Lori Riley, one of my babies. Congratulations. No, I didn't do an alphabetical order.
Keep everybody off balance.
Donna Alexander. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
You brought a lot to our discussion.
Thank you.
Lisa Miller. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Pyburn. Mark and I have great conversations. He's one of those, let's keep this rolling, let's keep this conversation going. Thanks, Mark. I enjoyed it. Brent Estes. This is the guy with the smile on his face all the time. And now he's moved into the little hallway with the little people, and I love it. Congratulations. Tracy Scott. Tracy. Thank you.
Tracy.
I hope I didn't miss anybody, did I? If you can, would you give them one more round of applause? And then I encourage him to lead.
Can I ask
Amen.
a question, Roland?
Sure.
Can each of you give us your idea of what is an opportunity for Warren County school system to be better? Since these are our leaders, I mean, I can tell by the ones that are going up there, these are our leaders. You can give us the opportunities. What are they? we can start with Mr. Powder, because he's never at a loss for words. But I wanna know from every one of them, one thing that they think is an opportunity for our school system.
You would expect
Let
that for you.
me, make sure I
These are our leaders, and I know y'all can come up with this, and I know you guys have great ideas, and that's the things we need to know. Tell us.
as important as all of the paperwork and everything that we have to do through the state, I feel like we've lost our way somewhat when it comes to focusing on the child. I really do. I don't feel like, and this is not just a Warren County thing, this is a state thing and even a federal thing. I feel like we've lost our way somewhat. We've gotten bogged down in the process of the education instead of what we really are there to do, and that is to focus in on educating the children. So I'd like for us to get back to that.
So our opportunity is to do what? Eliminate?
Our opportunity is to eliminate a lot of red tape, for lack of a better term, that each teacher has to go through to educate the children. There's too much paperwork for us to have to deal with, and it takes time away from what we really are there to do, and that's to educate the children. That's why I'd like to streamline the process if that's possible.
Good mix. Come on, they are the leaders.
I'll go.
You know.
I was going to say the culture probably, and that kind of goes along with what he says. I mean, in kindergarten, kids love to go to school, and by middle school, high school, they're dreading it every day. And I think if the school has a positive culture and the system has a positive culture, then teachers are gonna look forward to coming to school every day. If the teachers are excited, the kids are gonna be excited, no matter what age it is.
So what can we do?
I think going along with Kara, it's the high school is doing a positive behavior support on Friday. They're giving the kids, I think, some type of reward on Fridays and I think that will improve the culture of schools and have kids continue to enjoy coming and learning. I think teachers remembering that they have to love to be there and giving us time to let them have that enjoyment.
That will drive your data, because if they wanna be there, the relationships will drive. What they want, the state wants to see, they're not giving us time to do. We've got to build those relationships in order to drive that data.
They have to know you care about them, every child.
Freezer pops.
Freezer That's a good start.
The magic of freezer pops. Mr. Daly's freezer pops.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple, but it's great. I mean, that's the opportunity.
We have to, every child has to have every opportunity we can give them. And we have to work together as a team to provide that. We have to, like she said, we have to want to be there so that they will want to be there. We have to go above and beyond sometimes what is given to us to find ways to make the children successful. They can be successful. Every child can be successful. We just have to find a way that works for them. And it may not be the same as what works for the student next to them, but that's our job.
Let us lead. We know what we're doing. We know how to educate. We know how to love. We know how to get those parents in there instead of all this nonsense that it seems like it's put on our plate of worrying about this and that and this and that. Let us do what we were trained to do, and that was to educate, bring that child in, as Betty has taught us, and I heard it from Candace Wilmore from years back when I first started teaching. You've got to build that foundation of letting that child know you care and that you love, and why did you become an educator? What's in your heart? Why did you start? It wasn't for, which is important, the data is important, but that's not what that child's all about. At the end of the day, you've got to remember why you became a teacher. And so that's why I always say, when I look at my little ones as they walk out, let me lead them to be an adult that they will know that they're a positive influence in our society.
So what's our opportunity there?
let us lead.
How are we gonna affect that?
By building the culture again with teachers, getting that morale brought back up.
I think you speak of a larger picture there, and I think you're probably gonna find this board agrees totally with what you're saying. Where are we gonna make that effect happen? State level? Are we going to approach those people that make those decisions and tell them that level of where you're at is where the educating happens?
That always seems to be the easiest way, but in education, we never do anything the easy way, do we? We always have to do things the hard way. You know, it's the same way with our school. When we did ours with positive behavior, we didn't start with our faculty, which is where we should have began, of building morale there. Instead, we went to the students. We have to be the same way with our community. We've got to start with our parents and our kids first. Then the state will see it.
And I think what scares me is I think they do, so they're gonna create something new that we'll have to go to after that. That's the only worry. Instead of getting rid of something and not creating another monster. It does worry me about that.
Mine's the same as Mark. I mean, I feel like I'm constantly having to stop to give some type of assessment. I mean, already within the first 3 weeks of school, I gave 2 assessments, I know, and just, if we could have a timeline to give that in, that would be great. Cause I mean, I know I have so much I need to get in this week, and I'm already having to cut out stuff to make room for the things that I have to do, plus on top of all the paperwork that has to go with it. So, I mean, I know we have to give the assessments to find out how the kids are doing, but sometimes I feel like it's a little much to do.
Yeah, and I'll say this from my job, it's driving the same way. That's all I do is reports anymore, it seems like. And you gotta fight to make the real things happen. But, do you think some of it has been good though?
Yes, because it lets me see where my children are at and what I need to do to get them where they need to be.
It just needs to be controlled is what it is. I won't miss anybody in this opportunity.
Well, I teach kindergarten, and so I deal with parents from the very first day that they've ever dealt with school. And I would like to see us maybe develop more of a everyday, which we do a lot in kindergarten, everyday interactions with them. But as they grow older, the parents just don't want as much to do with their child's education. And I would like to see us kind of come up with a way to foster more parent interaction. I mean, they come to the big events, but more everyday interaction between us and them, more support.
It's funny that they'll complain about a bruise in kindergarten and in high school, they don't even complain about making a mess. It is, I'm sure that's Mr. Walker's fault every day.
And with me, I'm the general music teacher. I do 4 schools. And I won't be blunt, our students get 9 music lessons a year. And music is reading notations, it's also reading symbols, it's preparing them for algebra, it's preparing them in reading. It crosses everything. It is a core subject. It's not an elective. And you look at Williamson County, my grandson in kindergarten last year in Williamson County, which I know is one of the top schools in the state, he's already had more music lessons in kindergarten than their children will reach by 4th grade. And this is pre-algebra skills and reading skills that our kids need. We've got to get more music and art in our schools. If you really want our kids to begin to read symbols, you don't wait and in 4th grade start substituting. I'm doing this in kindergarten. A quarter note is a symbol that they're going to associate divides a second by a 4th of a second. That's division of time and energy, and it will make a difference in the kids if you put full-time music and art in your schools. And I know I'm talking budget here. I do understand that. But it will make a difference. Because when you look at their schools, go look at their programs. How much time are they getting art? How much time are they getting music? How much time are they getting guidance? And then begin to really look at the programs. You'll find a difference in those schools. And that's what our test scores go.
I think that's a very important statement. Yeah, it's budget, but you know, we need to step up to the plate.
It
and
is,
get
and
the job done.
I wholeheartedly understand it. But a couple years ago, I went to a workshop, and all these teachers were full-time music teachers, and they were talking about their ensembles and their children's choir. I left that workshop, and I literally started crying from National Pride all the way home, because I thought, God, I want that. I'm never going to get that here. Or at least at that point, that's what I felt like. I don't want that for kids. It will make a difference in their behaviors. Because some of the kids that I have, teachers like, they drive me nuts, and I'm like, but they're so good for me. Because it's outside the box. And that those kids can do. They understand outside the box. They like different. So we really need to think.
You know, and it's a matter of opportunity. You know, Warren County High School graduated a trombone player who went on to become assistant principal trombonist of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra,
And
one of the elite orchestras
It
in the
is
world. It can happen.
one of the best in the world. And this is from our county, and we have a lot of our youth go on to do wonderful things, songwriters, and, you know, we do have talent here. We do have talent.
Yeah, we're selling ourselves short. We don't take advantage of that opportunity.
That's right, and we need to reach them all.
Lisa?
Yes. Try not to. This is budget stuff, but I feel like that we're expected to do more with less and less and less. Here, you did really great. Let's see if you can do it on this shoestring budget. And I would like to have access across every school and for every teacher in our county. And I don't understand the division of money and why some schools get more and some don't. And I'm sure it has lots to do with poverty rates and things that I don't deal with every day. But it just seems like we're being asked to do more and more and more with less and less and less money and resources and time. And it's a very, very frustrating. So I would like more money.
I'll second that motion.
I think we'd all like to see a little more of that.
I don't mean personally, I mean, I would,
Yeah.
yeah, it wouldn't hurt my
I'll
feelings a
second
bit
that
for my
motion.
teacher to be
Yeah.
bigger. But I mean,
We'd like to have a
for
bigger
my
budget.
classroom, for my school,
Yeah.
for the teachers in my school, for the students in my school, so I can have access to the very best of everything to educate them with.
And I think, you know, that's a good thing, and that's some statements that we have even made, that we want to provide and we want to be able to give and provide every resource available and option to you as teachers and mentors, you know, to our students that you need. Budget restraints do hold us back from a lot of that, but we certainly want to hand you whatever you need. And anything that we can do to do that, we definitely want to.
I will say, there have been times when I go and speak with teachers in other counties that I walked away and I thought, our school board's never got us in that predicament. We have less money, but they always manage somehow to get, if we truly need it, you guys have always managed to say, here it is, we rearranged, we did whatever. So I'll give you credit for that, because deep down I know you want this best for every child in this county too. And I know that, and I thank you for that.
And you know, one last thing I'd like to say is one of the things that we worked real hard to develop in our culture at that table when we sat together, the 10 of us most of the time, was that everybody realizes that what they have is a moral obligation to teach children, not content. I mean, we're told we're going to teach science and social studies, but really it's all about literacy and numeracy. And it's all about us committing to make sure that no student gets to that 3rd grade if they can't read. And that 90% goal keeps coming into play. And part of what we did, those very first 2 meetings, they were so sick of, there she goes again, with that trying to steer us towards, we're educators. We teach children. What children need is where we go. Sometimes we miss the mark with them in math or English or language arts, but we actually do what we need to do so that they can learn and be a successful American, because that's what they need to do. If they can't read, they can't count, we're eliminating them as part of the process. So we really need to make sure that all of us are committed to that. And they were, even though they heard it a lot and they read it a lot in the book. So that's it for our group.
Mr. Chairman, I think Ms. Wood should be immensely proud of these people. And I have heard in the last few minutes that probably the most intelligent discussion of education issues that I've ever heard. because this is coming from the practitioners, the people who are on the front line every day, being awesome in front of 20, 25, 30 students every day. I wish the whole discussion of education, Common Core and assessment, things like that, could be informed with this kind of real intelligence and real factual information. I think it would be nice if Chairman, Mr. Cox agreed with this, if you asked your leadership cohort to submit one paragraph to a report that you would submit to the board, you know, and give them some time to think about it. One well thought out paragraph, a few well chosen words, responding to the question that Mr. Holmes put forward. You know, if you could do one thing that would advance education in Warren County, what would it be? I would love to read that.
I would make the comment to go beyond that is to allow them to do that and to take one a week per review and put it on the Warren County Schools website for everyone to see.
Absolutely.
With our leaders' names on there.
No, absolutely.
I mean, I didn't ask to put you on the spot. I asked because I think you guys are our leaders. And I think you need to have some input. And I know Mr. Cox has opened the environment for that so that we can take our leaders and allow them to do more and more. And I think that's what you guys are asking for. And I think this board supports that totally. We want our leaders to be pushed to the top to allow them to do things beyond what is just stated in the manual. Because you guys have the ideas and you have the ability to affect things, and we want to empower you to do that. And I think, you know, this class, which is basically something that was created how many years ago?
Oh, probably 6 years.
6
I think
years.
I've been working with them for now.
Yeah.
And this is a tool that the board and the group at the time felt that we wanted to empower you guys to be the leaders and to give you the ability to do that. So, you know, and also we're live, just so you know that too. But I didn't ask to put you on the spot. I truly want to hear what you guys have what we need to hear so that we can do what we need to do with our little book, because that's basically what we control. That and a budget that we submit to the county commission is basically our control. You guys are the idea makers. You are the changers. You're the ones that mold the little ones every day. So we need to hear from you and to put you on our website for you guys to get the ideas for this county is I think is what we need to do. And that falls under their authority, and that is our suggestion.
We can make that happen.
Dr. Jerry Hale, one of his predecessors as director of schools, started the Leadership Academy with Dr. Linda Gilbert from MTSU, who's gone on to become director for Murfreesboro City. And I commend Mr. Cox and Ms. Wood for continuing that. I think it's just gotten stronger over the years.
It's a commitment of time. I mean, we actually lost one because we kind of moved some meetings around, but you know, it's a commitment of their time, and we want to honor that time and try to enrich what they're already doing, because they already bring so much to the table, and it's just a matter of getting them to put the thoughts out there and then to kind of do some reading to kind of school themselves in some things they need to do. But yeah, they're ready, and they just need to be used in their buildings. They're ready.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank
Okay,
you all very
folks,
much.
can we go outside and have a picture made?
That concludes the lengthy operation report. Mr. Chairman.
Very good.
All right.
Now we're ready for a short
report.
All right, we'll move into curriculum. Mr. Zackman.
Okay, this will be amazingly swift. You will be astonished. The Curriculum and Achievement Committee met earlier this evening and adopted on first reading TBB, safety, and policy IDFAA, interscholastic athletics transfer rule. There were some suggested changes on the interscholastic athletics transfer rule. They'll be incorporated in the document submitted for second reading. Mr. Chairman, I want to move for adoption of policies on first reading, EBV and IDFAA.
All right, we have a motion. To have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Is that your amazingly quick?
That's my report. I told you, you
I
would be
didn't
amazed. Less
think
than 60 seconds.
you and quick went together, but. All right, Mr. Adamson.
This is the kind of treatment you're, you know, this abuse, you know, this abuse is part of it. Okay.
All right, we had a committee meeting earlier in Facility and Resources. Just a quick update on some of their projects. Our East Side Sanity Sewer project should be finished this Wednesday. The chain link, I think, is going back up. And the middle school HVAC system is complete.
And Mr. Little is here. He gets to talk a little bit about that, the engineering of the project, but it seems like it came all together.
It was a trying end of July, shall we say?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Fortunately, Mr. Breedlove's help and his people was able to get everything in there. I've got to get back by it and just look at a few of the touch-up, clean-up items, but it was there when I was there in the facility last week. They were getting some controls worked out, and I think and hope they have yet. There's supposed to be somebody coming down. I've got to follow up on that, but for the most part, everything was functional and operational, and most teachers I talked to were happier.
They were happy. Not freezing to death.
They were this spring.
One item Mr. Lee brought up was we need to, next time you're there, check it. There's a drain, I think, that comes out of one that's over a door. It's over a locker room door.
Mr. Caldwell and I have talked about that and some possibilities of what we want to do there.
Reroute now.
We talked about a couple different options, so I'm gonna follow up with him when he got back in.
I think there's a drain down on the other end of the visitor locker room that just drains straight out and it's gonna make a mud pit, so.
That back area there outside both locker rooms is where we were, a couple areas we were talking about was adjusting some things.
But I think
Visitor locker room?
Yeah, but it's baseball locker room in the spring, so.
But it went well, and I appreciate Mr. Whittle working with us on that. And that seems to have been a very positive solution. We had a lot of issues in the last couple of years with that, and it worked out well.
Decouple the chill water, hot water from the main building to address the underground piping issue there with this. And I said, we've got some individual control in there now throughout the building.
Pleased with it.
The other thing, Mr. Dave Almer's here, I don't know if he wants to speak any more on this, but the drainage project at the middle school, he said earlier was finished and everything was looking really good there.
Yeah, that project is all finished and seeded and looking great. It should be functioning okay. I think it's actually been closed out, that part has been as well.
Well, while you're standing, he also said over at the Morrison, you talked about Morrison.
Morrison Elementary, we're in the process of closing out some permitting with TDEC, and we've had them come down and do an inspection. They emailed me last week and told me that with a little bit more seeding in this fall and everything, that everything would be fine, so we can go ahead and terminate that permit and close out with TDEC as well.
Any questions?
Need a motion for Urban College.
The last thing that I have on my agenda is, coming out of the committee, we had discussed purchasing or getting an appraisal of some property behind the Urban College, for, possible school expansion and some sewer and drainage areas. And I make a motion that we, go ahead and start on the appraisal of that property.
All right, we have a motion on appraisal of Urban College property. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I think that's about all that I have.
All right, we'll move into student advisory.
Okay,
I'm not Ashley Curtis nor Emma Holmes, but I'm going to present for student advisory. So on your student advisory news, did I get a copy? Okay, great. Student advisory will have the flag ready by next meeting. Oh, before I get started, Jessica Akers is our new sponsor. She's going to be helping me this year. Erica Bragg had 3 babies and her husband worked at night, so she was never able to participate a whole lot. So Jessica is going to fill in for that. So grateful for that. Super organized, knows everything. If you need a computer information, call her. Then so flag will be ready next meeting. I do have a couple of applications for members for this upcoming selection process. Celebrate My Drive is underway. We're collecting and already collected several email addresses and birthdays for that event coming up. Have several incentive plans set up, and hopefully we'll get lots of a database set up so we won't have to type in. We can copy and paste, and that'll go by super quick. Our plans are to collect the $100,000 prize this year, and instead of just student advisory working toward that, FBLA is going to be helping. So all the FBLA sponsors, which is their entire business hall, will be working toward that, and not just myself. So that'll make things work smoother, I think. Great things are happening at Warren County High School. If you've looked through that section, Pep Rally Bonfire is scheduled for right now, so we should wrap this up and get over there and support our team.
Where are they setting on fire?
We're getting it underway for you.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll be super quick, but Club Rush, we're doing that for the first time this year. Coach Walker has set up a schedule, so students will be able to go around. All the students in the school will have 2 periods where they go around and see what clubs are available at Warren County High School, pick up information. Hopefully we'll get a large group participating in a lot of our clubs, which that's super exciting. So hopefully that'll be a good event, and look forward to that next year as well. Warren County High School has a Facebook page and a Twitter account. So Jacob Dunn and Erica Bragg are in charge of that. Super cool stuff going on there. And if you haven't looked at that Facebook page, it looks good, and she keeps it up to date. I don't have a Twitter account, so I don't know what goes on that. But the handle is WC Space Pioneers for the Twitter account. So thanks to them. If y'all see them out, tell them thank you for setting that up and keeping it going. Let's see. Oh, Coach Walker announced today that there's construction underway or plans underway to create a covered pavilion beside the cafeteria to go along with the 90 extra minutes of extracurricular activity. Frisbee golf course is in the works to get that set up, and also cornhole tournaments. So that should be super fun and something to get the kids more active besides just sitting in class listening to us all day long. Next, student news and report. This is super cool news, guys. Number 10, boys and girls golf team, coached by J.W. Holt, made a clean sweep at Lawrence. Well, y'all can read that because I'll tongue twist that up. They got first place. Nick and Hannah Powell got first place low medalist. So the boys and girls team won first. So yay to them. Hunter Bolden, the next one's really cool too. Hunter Bolden, I'll let you read that, but he is hopefully going to the World Championships. Doing super well, and I think he's made quite a bit of money in that realm or activity, the American Bass Association. I think he's made a lot of money, bought himself a bass boat and everything with the winnings that he's had. So he's doing really well with that. So that's really cool. And also cross country, you can read that. Amy Baird and Carol Nelson are going to host their 2nd annual event. So make plans to attend that and support that team as well. Oh, and did I mention that J.W. Holt is also the sponsor not only of the angler team, but also he's bowling this year as well. So he's got some fun stuff going on. And last, Warren County High School news, student advisory. We met with Coach Walker today. Had a very productive meeting, I think. Have several ideas going on, and you can read through those. Moving prom, reinstating Spring Olympics, reinstating homecoming door decoration contest to kind of boost the morale at Warren County High School. Morals, not morals, because we're already there. So lots of fun things going on there. Also plans for an academic pep rally. That should be super fun. We talked about the dress code. not a whole lot going on there. A few changes, but you can read that for yourself. I won't read that for you. Let's see. Bookstores open at Warren County High School, and the Pioneer Rewards can be used to purchase things there. One issue that I do want to address was brought up by Mr. Farnham, and we addressed this in our meeting today. But there are certain websites like our Twitter account and the Facebook that is blocked, and there's several like apps or something that I'm not sure what they're called, but they are blocked, and teachers use these and clubs use these to communicate with students, and so there's an issue with we can see some things being blocked, but some things probably need to be discussed and worked around there.
And we just got to install a new filter, so it's causing a little bit of problem with that right now. So we're working on that, but it does block quite a few things. So we're working on getting that unblocked for those items.
And Club Rush is tomorrow,
Yeah.
and here is a floor plan for that. And there's 10 more clubs going to be represented at the Club Rush. Erica got that together, so 10 more. That's not an updated version there. 10 more clubs are going to be present. So it's tomorrow, and I've given you the times on the agenda. So if you can make your way over there and see what's going on at our school, that'd be great.
Where's that gonna be at? What area?
Auxiliary gym.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to delay the meeting, but you know you're going to get a sales pitch for Celebrate My Drive, and Patty and Ms. Smith led us to winning $25,000 last year. Virtually unrestricted grant from State Farm. State Farm's putting several $1 million into it, and I am really happy to see that she has set, with Student Advisory, to set us a goal, not $25,000 this year, but one of the $100,000 prizes. One of the grand prizes. There'll be 5 of those awards. And the good news is we learned a lot of great lessons from last year and had a lot of success. The other side of the coin, though, is that other high schools throughout the United States saw that some of these schools were getting $25,000 grants, $100,000 grants, so we can expect a lot more competition this year. So we're just going to have to step up the program. I'm glad we've got Ms. Akers coming with us here. I see you've enlisted other club support, and that's important. But October is the commitment month, and that's the time for us to be submitting our votes. It doesn't cost us anything. We just need to be on our laptop or a smartphone or whatever your device is, and clicking in these commitments to Celebrate My Drive.
And if you think you'll forget, just send your emails to us and we'll get those clicked in for you.
That's the best deal ever. You don't have to think about doing it every day. You can vote once a day. Ms. Smith and Ms. Akers will make sure that you are voted by proxy. And I do want to say on behalf of State Farm, we will not use your email address for marketing purposes. We're not going to be spamming your inbox with unsolicited and unwanted marketing items. We will not do that. But in all seriousness, we do need it, because I think Warren County High School can get to the $100,000. This is what I think. At the latest report, 26 schools in Tennessee and 10 schools in Kentucky were registered, and that's basically our local neighborhood, Tennessee and Kentucky. But a lot more, they still have time to get registered.
If you could get me the information on how many votes we were behind the leader, that might be helpful.
I tried last year. I'm not sure they're going to release that. But yeah, we'd like to know. But we were within the winner's circle. We were within the top 100. So thank you for all your work.
All right. At this time, we will move into our board reorganization. At this time, do I have a motion for a board chairman?
I nominate Linda Blair.
We have a nomination for Linda Blair. Any others? Do I have a motion to cease nominations?
So moved.
Have a nomination to cease nominations. So we have one for board chairman, Linda Blair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, congratulations. At this time, we'll go into vice chairman. Do I have a nomination for vice chairman.
I'd like to nominate Tanya Bess as vice chairman.
We have a nomination for Tanya Bess. Any others?
Mr. Chairman, I move that nomination cease.
We have a nomination cease. Do I have a second? Have a second. All those in favor of Tanya, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations. Condolences, Chair.
That may be the first time in Warren County history we've had a sheriff.
All right.
That's trouble, this guy to me.
Any other business?
Yes, we do have a couple of other items, Mr. Chairman. As everybody knows tonight, a couple of members will be leaving the board, and we want to recognize them for their service. Mr. Adamson, if you come forward, I'd like to present you a plaque that reads, Michael Adamson, in appreciation for the years of service, 2010 through 2014, you have given to the Warren County Board of Education. So we want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
It's been an honor.
And secondly, Mr. Lee, in the same realm, we do with in our tradition as chair, you get a plaque that's got your gavel on it. That you can
You're not
use.
allowed to
Probably
use
should have
it
gave
on
you the
Saturday.
plaque before so you could gavel during the meetings. But in the same vein, Warren County Board of Education, Mr. Jeff Lee, in appreciation for the years of service, 2010 through 2014.
Thank you
So we
very much.
appreciate that.
John Phelan said the other night, you want to leave something in better shape than you found it, and I think this board has done that over the last 4 years. So I definitely appreciate everything we've done. One of the things that, one of my goals, as you know, I'm all athletic minded, was about 10 to 12 years ago, is to get an indoor practice facility. And I'm very proud that this board was able to pull that off this year. It's going to mean a lot to our athletic teams. Bobby, I thank you for everything you've done. You're a great leader. But I also have a presentation, but it's not to our great leader, but it is for the one that runs this place.
That's right.
There you go.
Miss Joy, this is from Mike and myself for all you've done. Thank you.
You love the rock.
Good, okay.
Speech.
Steve,
If it wasn't for her, I don't know where we'd be.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
You're
I've
welcome.
enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
Enjoyed it.
It's been a trail packet.
It has.
And we'll
With Michael, it's been a
continue
will
to be,
continue.
and we'll continue.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'll just
Thank
run
you.
the show and aggravate you now.
Again, we'd like to say thank you to both of you, and again, I'd like to welcome our new board members in, Miss Martin, Mr. Bennett. I'd like to welcome you again to the board, and we know that we'll step right in and become family as we always have, and continue the work that we've started here. So I want to welcome you to the board.
I want to say, and here again, we're after 7 o'clock now. I'll say this very briefly, but I'll say it with the utmost sincerity and passion. In fact, it has been an honor and a privilege to serve with Mr. Lee and Mr. Adamson. These are two people who have really contributed ideas. They've done heavy lifting in terms of innovation and ideas, and also just the confidence we can have in their judgment. And I think that Warren County has been extremely well served by these two board members, and I know we'll be well served by the incoming board members. But one of the things that I appreciate about this board, and I've been here 6 years, is that I don't have to, and nobody has to second guess the motivation for any idea or any vote taken on this board. The motivation is just what's in the best interest of the students. I have never in 6 years seen any reason to doubt that. And I think that will continue in the future, but I just want to say personally how much I've enjoyed working.
All right. Our favorite part. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It cannot be debated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.